much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Uh,
Anita.
Sulakshana, will you be sharing the slide?
Yes.
First of all, I would like to start by thanking DSU by giving us an opportunity to talk about our university and about our courses. And Sulakshana, thank you for coordinating this so wonderfully for us. So I think all of you students are part of the pharmaceutical medicines department of DSU. So it'll be my privilege to talk to you about our company, about the courses we are offering, and what kind of a career you can find in clinical research. So next slide, please. So, as Ms. Anita already mentioned to you, we are part of a company called MMS Holdings. We are basically headquartered at Canton, Michigan, and Canton is the place which is a small outlet as part of Detroit. You must all have heard about Detroit, the automobile city of the world. So, we are actually headquartered at Canton. We are a data-focused clinical research organization. We basically support pharmaceutical, biotech, and medical device companies. We are company was started basically in Detroit in the year 2006 with just two people. And currently we have a global footprint across the world. I will mention to you where all we have our footprints with close to around 500 employees working with us. We have completed 50 submissions for drug approval over the last 5 years. 1 minute. 5 years alone, and we are one of the top choice for sponsors for innovation and demanding high quality from their CRO partners. So we are a preferred partner for many of the pharma companies, and they prefer to work with MMS as a choice. So MMS, as a company, we offer services like regulatory services, pharmacovigilance, drug safety, clinical data management, medical writing, clinical or statistical programming, and these are a few of the main services that we offer to our clients. The leadership in our company have more than 2 decades of hands-on drug development experience, and they have experience at working one of the major pharmas across the world. We also help support program-level strategy for our clients and execution of projects across multiple therapeutic areas. So we are also named the most outstanding global CRO for 2 years consecutively for 2019 and 20 in the Biotechnology Awards. Next slide, please. So, Ms. Anita also told you, and I would also like to tell you about our global footprint. So, I already mentioned to you about Canton, Michigan, in the United States, which is our global headquarters. We have offices in Bangalore and Hyderabad in India, and we have a lot of employees who work currently across India. And we have a few employees working even remotely. And this is not just during the pandemic. There are many employees who work permanently with us from a home, and there is no problem with any way from the way they deliver or what they have to learn from the company. We also have offices in London, Bloemfontein in South Africa, and Dublin in Ireland. So I guess you're all part of the clinical research industry and you must already be aware of what clinical research is all about. So just a small overview I would like to give you. As you're aware, whenever a new drug has to come to the market, from the laboratory to the market, it actually takes 12 long years for the drug to be released. So you're aware that there are multiple phases for a drug to be released. So anybody has any questions till now, or would anybody volunteer to tell me what are the different phases that a drug actually goes through before it comes to the market? Any volunteers? Next slide, please. So I will just take you through a very brief on what are the different phases drug development goes through. There are 5 phases which a treatment actually must pass through before becoming commercially available. There is phase 0, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. In the phase 0, it generally usually involves a very small number of participants, and it's designed to help the researchers decide if a new agent should be tested in a phase 1 trial. So this is a phase where they are deciding whether this particular drug which they want to trial actually should be tested out to actually go into the market. Phase 1 next is it also involves a small number of participants, but this aims to find a safe dose and how the treatment should be administered. What is the medium that they have to use? What is the kind that has to come out into the market? It also identifies how the treatment affects the human body and how it actually finds or fights the different disease that they are trying to discover this drug for. Phase 2 involves less than 100 participants. It aims to determine if the new treatment actually influences a certain disease. It examines how the new treatment affects the body and fights that disease, and if there are any side effects because of any of the patients who are undergoing the trial are being subjected to that particular trial. The next phase is 3, which involves 100 and several thousand participants, and it aims to compare the new treatment with the current standard treatment and whether it was effective, not effective, what were the side effects, etc. So, in phase 3 now, the number of people who are involved in this has been increased from a few hundred or now to a multiples of hundreds or thousands of patients. So, to get data for all this, it takes at least minimum 3 to 4 years, which is why the whole clinical trial phase extends for up to 12 years. So, phase 3 is the most important one where a lot of data is generated. And in phase 0, you see this is very less common. It involves a very small number of participants, and like I already mentioned. Phase 2 actually involves less than 100 participants, but in spite of that, multiple amounts of data is generated from each particular patient who's part of this. They have to take a look at the metadata of the patient, the age, the domesticity or the origination, the nativity of the, and all this actually affects the trials or the drug which is being having a trial within the trials. So if you can imagine what will happen in phase 2, you can imagine what will happen in phase 3 when it involves so many number of people, so much of data generated. So how does a sponsor company actually collate all this data and submit it to the regulatory authority for them to approve it? So if you take a look at it here, the main basis for what we are going to talk about today for us as a CRO is the phase between the clinical research stage, phase 3 and 4, and the post-approval research that we get involved in. So the main stakeholders for this particular research phase are the sponsor, that is the company or the pharma company which is actually sponsoring this trial and which is trying to come out with a new drug. The CRO companies like us who help them collate the data that they are generating, put it in a fashion that is being able to understand by the masses or the regulatory bodies or the people who are actually the stakeholders. And the next stakeholder would be the patient who voluntarily can be a patient or a healthy patient, both of them who are ready to be part of the clinical trial. So these are one of the main holders again. And of course, the regulatory bodies who takes a look at all the data which is generated, understands the efficacy, the safety in all the parts of the clinical trial, and finally takes a call on whether the drug has to be approved or not. Next slide, please. So we already spoke about the key stakeholders. Let us take a look at a little more about it. The sponsor. The sponsor, like I told you already, is the pharma company which is coming out with this trial. So it is not very cheap to actually do a drug trial for 12 long years. So it involves a lot of money from the sponsor. A lot of people are involved. It is sometimes a nationwide effort for them to spread it across different hospitals, different cities, different ethnicities, because they're trying to understand how this works on different ethnicities of people. So the sponsor is the most important stakeholder here. So, and when I'm talking about a 12-year period, there are also periods where the regulatory bodies give authority to the sponsors to reduce the time to come out with a drug much quicker, like times like this during a pandemic when a vaccine that we are looking forward to is very urgently needed. So last year, this time, nobody was aware that the pandemic is going to come. There was no drug, there was nothing in the market to fight something called COVID. But today we are looking at a chance that probably in the next 6 months, we might be able to see the trace of a vaccine somewhere. So it did not take 12 years long. So that is also part of this clinical realm of things. Next is the site. A site is a hospital or a place where a clinical trial actually takes place, where patients get involved, doctors get involved, and clinical research coordinators get involved to ensure that the trial is running successfully, data is captured correctly, and all the data is monitored and kept privately. The investigators are the doctors, the CRCs who help with this particular trial. The doctors are involved, they are taken in confidence, they are trained on what kind of data needs to be looked at when this trial is being taken place. So the investigators are a key stakeholders again. Patients, of course, you cannot run a trial without a patient. So the patient has to be aware of what they are getting into. So suppose it's a patient, for example, if there's a cancer drug that is being, the trial is being run into, and if there is a patient who is at the, end stage of their cancer, sometimes the patient feels, what is it in there for me to lose? If there is a recovery chance that I may get being part of this trial, let me try it out. So they get enrolled. So there are healthy patients also sometimes for many of the trials who want to voluntarily get into the trial and be a part of it as a patient. And the next comes CROs. CROs like us, like I already said, we help the sponsors, we tie up or sign up with the sponsors to help them collate their data. And I will take you in the next slide what we actually do We help them collect the data and also help them submit it to the local regulatory body from wherever they are located in. The regulatory bodies, for example, is the FDO. We have regulatory bodies in UK. We have one in India, DGCA. So there are a lot of local regulatory bodies, and depends on where the sponsor company is, and the regulatory body is based on that for the local sponsor. So how does a clinical trial run? Let's take a look at it. So I already spoke to you about the main role of a CRO within a clinical trial, whole trial part of it. We provide support to pharma, biotechnology, and medical device companies in the form of research services. So there are CROs which also help a sponsor run a clinical trial per se. So they work with them and they take over the responsibility of running a trial. They identify hospitals, they identify doctors. They also work with patients to understand how this whole trial is running. So you can have a CRO who starts working with the sponsor from the trial stage. So this whole CRO market now is expected to grow at least 12% per year on year up to 2021. This was data that we got at least, I think, 3 or 4 years back. This has been updated now. We will get back to you on the updated data. So as we are all aware, diseases are not new to mankind. Every year or every time, new diseases are being found, and there is a cure that needs to be found for all these diseases. So there is no dearth for clinical trials that are running globally across the world. So there is always trials running. There are always need for professionals who are part of the clinical research industry. And there is an estimation that the rate of 10% at least, the kind of clinical research market might grow up to at least 2022-23. This was also an earlier, but this estimation still continues at the same rate. But now that after the pandemic has set in and they've realized that there is a need for clinical research professionals, I understand that the rate of acceleration for this industry has really doubled up. So what we know is that five CROs hold over 33% of the global market, and the names for them would be IQVIA. Then we have a 12 point who actually hold a 12.4% share of the market. There is Laboratory Corporation of America Holdings, Icon Place, Paraxel, and PPD. These are some of the famous names among the global CROs. So what does a CRO actually do? So I already spoke to you about clinical operations, which is nothing but the clinical trials that run. So once, suppose you're not involved in the clinical trial phase, then a CRO steps in at the data management phase to start the life cycle of the actual whole clinical trial process. The data is collected from the sponsor who shares it to them. And we develop something called a site where all the data is managed, or what do you say, it is placed in areas where it is needed. So suppose there is a metadata of a patient, the metadata goes into a particular space, and they develop a database which actually captures all this data from the available data that is provided by the sponsor. Then the programming or the statistical team takes over this particular database and develops what is called tables and listings, which actually segregate the kind of data that is needed for a next level of person who takes over, who's called a medical writer. So we will speak about medical writing a little later. So Shmita will give you an idea what they do. But the medical writing team then takes over, and then it is given over to the regulatory and submissions department, who take a look whether this particular drug which is being taken is having any side effects, doesn't have any side effects. And there is also an interim department called regulatory operations, which actually formats all these documents, puts it up in an Adobe document, and help it submit it per se to the regulatory body. So as I already mentioned, the clinical data is taken over and made it into a complete and validated data. It comes in a raw format, thousands and thousands of data just comes in a raw format. So it is impossible for somebody to understand what it is. So it is very important for it to be made into a complete and validated data for it to understand. Then the data is analyzed. Then the medical writers come into the picture by writing it in the form of a clinical study report, giving it meaning and trying to explain what exactly the data is actually talking about to you as a layperson or anybody who's a stakeholder who has to read the document. Then the regulatory submission happens when everything is given in the way that is supposed to be given. It is then submitted to the regulatory body, who then again take their own time to review all the data that is provided by them, and then they take a decision whether to approve that drug or not. Next slide, please. So now I would like to hand it over to Sushmita, who will explain to you exactly what a medical writer does. Sushmita, please. Hello? I think she's unable to speak again.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, please, you are.
I think the admin has the opportunity to mute and
Yes,
unmute.
we're able to hear you now,
Yeah.
Shishmita. You can go ahead.
Thank you so much, Lakshana.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon to the students who are here to know more about this career option. So we'll speak a little bit about medical writing and how it is a very good career option for anyone who wants to join into this domain. So I understand most of the students here are from biotech background. Is that right?
No, ma'am, they are pharmacy background.
Okay, all of them are from
They
pharmacy.
are from pharmacy.
Okay, so thank you for that input. Um, so Akshana, just can we start with the first slide? So I just wanted to let the students know what we mean by medical writing. With any kind of writing, medical writing is also the art of communicating scientific, clinical, and or research data, which is customized to a specific target audience. I'm sure students will be ready, able to connect to this when I say target audience, because if they are going to, if they have presented any seminars or papers or any posters, then they would have customized their data so that it suits the need of the target audience and the target audience is able to understand. So that's what comes into play when we think of writing for medical writing, that we customize the data and ensure that it is to the understanding of our target audience. It involves writing various types of scientific documents, and the key differentiator, as we discussed, is the target audience. Here are a few examples. So, who can be our target audience? One is regulatory companies, pharma companies, regulatory agencies like FDA, DCGI, Health Canada. The various countries have one regulatory authority who approves the medicine, so they are our target audience from a regulatory perspective. Doctors, the medical staff, healthcare professionals, these are our target audience because they are the ones who conduct the studies, deal with the final medicines, prescribe the final medicines, and then of course the patients. So the patients are the key contributor in everything. So when a trial is conducted, the end consumers, so they are another prime target audience. And I'm sure you can think of that the level of understanding of each of these target audience would be different. Like the regulatory agency will look at more towards whether the regulations have been complied to, whether the data meets all the regulatory requirement, whether the writing is conveying what they want to know from a very high technical level. For doctors, they would need to know how they are going to prescribe, what it is meant for, what is the mechanism of action, what kind of indications, and all things like that. What risks they can expect from the medicine, if that needs administration once a day or twice a day, or if it's an injection, whatever, those kind of medical information. For patients, they need to know like very lay level of information that they can understand. They may not understand medical terminologies, medical concepts, but they need to know the basics that they are having a medical condition and that's why they are being treated for it. They're getting a drug and it could cause some side effects or no side effects at all. uh, what what they should comply to, whether they should take it before food, after food, all those kind of basic things, and it has to be explained in a lay language. So next slide, please, Lakshna. By the target audience, there are various documents. So whatever documents we write, then I have tried to club them here to give a perspective how it differs by target audience. So when we say for regulatory authorities, we have reports of the documents, like if there are animal studies, the non-clinical reports for clinical studies, the documents for conduct of the study, the results of the study, any risks for the drug that is captured in the risk management plans, and of course post-marketing surveillance when the drug is in market. So these are safety, post-marketing safety reports. The other side is a more important target audience also, which is medical communications. Promotional materials, which are meant for the public, for the sales representative, the educational materials, lay language, summaries for patients, abstracts, articles, posters. We are all aware of these. We might have seen this during our curriculum, done literature searches. And of course, a bigger thing now is the websites where a lot of content is available. So this is customized to the target audience that the general public will be looking at this, marketing people will be looking at this, and it helps in medical promotion of the content about the drug and medical education for the salespeople so that they can help with the sales of the medicines. The other part is at the center, which is a growing domain. It's called clinical trial disclosure. It is a transparency-based initiative. Everyone needs transparency nowadays, and it is the keyword in every domain. So this was not there a few years back, but slowly to bring transparency into the domain of clinical research, these disclosures are mandated in many countries now. So there are websites where the trial results should be disclosed, and these are mandated by regulatory authorities. They need that they should be posted, but it is actually meant for the general public. Anyone can go and look at these, and researchers can also use this data to know what studies have been already conducted, what are being conducted, and what results were there. Students, patients, everyone can look up and find out what were the results. Students can use it for their future research. So it's a big growing domain that is kind of a bridge between the regulatory aspects and also medical communications. So this is a slide which shows the various stages of drug development and various documents that are written. So if you see the bold moving arrow, the top line shows the various stages like preclinical, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. And at a stage, we have approval, which is indicated by the orange line when we filed a new drug application, that is a NDA, and it goes for approval. So the drug gets approval to be marketed. And there are various meetings before that happen before that, like a pre-IND meeting when you move from animal testing phase to the human phase, and the phase 2 meeting, pre-licensing meeting, then the filing, and then the approval. If you look at the arrow below the arrow, we have the documents that are needed at various stages. So for example, in preclinical stage, you would need non-clinical reports. For all the non-clinical studies that's conducted, there will be reports. For the meeting that we have with the regulatory authority, we would need a briefing document to tell them that this is what we have done. It's more like meeting minutes, agenda items, and things like that. So just to help you correlate what would be the content. And then, of course, the investigational new drug application and the investigator's brochure, the IND and IB. So these are huge documents that are filed at this stage, which summarize all the previous data, all the non-clinical data, and the regulatory authority evaluates that, yes, the drug is safe to be tested in humans, or they may say, no, it's not safe to be tested in humans too. So that's a critical stage. And then when we move into the actual clinical study stages, we have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. So during these stages, for every study, we write protocols, clinical study reports, the disclosures, the clinical trial disclosures, the lay summaries for patients, And there are annual safety reports that is written, like DSUR's drug safety update reports. There are annual updates to the IB because these are living documents, and we have to keep adding all the data that we know about the uh, drug into these documents. And when we go for filing for approval, we write the label document. Label is something that you might see in any drug packet. There's a small paper that might will be available with instructions that provides the labeling information, and then a risk management plan is written, and these all, along with the complete dossier, the clinical technical document dossier, compiles for the new drug application, and it is submitted. The regulatory authority reviews it, and if they find that they are satisfied with the safety and efficacy information of the drug for the indication, they go ahead with the marketing approval. And of course, throughout this process, there are a lot of articles submitted by the researchers, by the organization conducting these studies. There are posters being presented to give more information about the drug. And post-approval also, we have something called as the post-marketing safety update report, that is the PSUR, and the risk management plans, how to manage if there are any risks noticed with the drug. So those all come into the picture in the post-marketing phase. So this was a very intense slide. Any questions before I move further? Okay,
go
we'll
ahead.
then move ahead. So,
Ma'am, they'll be asking the questions in the chat box by the end of the session.
sure,
Usually
thank you
they
so
do like
much,
that.
ma'am. Yeah, we'll look at that then. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. So we looked at the previous slide about a drug development. That's for one drug development. And I just wanted to give you some perspective about the industry dynamics. Now, there's about approximately 30,000 clinical studies are conducted every year globally. Um, as you see, there are multiple documents that are that have to be written for each study. Like for each study, you need a protocol, a CSR, a disclosure, and you have to update the results of each study, even in the IB and other documents. Multiple regulatory documents are also needed for each healthcare product, like medicines, devices, vaccines, or biologics, etc. There are about 5,000 plus drugs in the developmental phases of 1 to 3 at this moment, and uh, if any drugs are approved, there are multiple post-marketing documents also needed for each product. So this is the regulatory perspective, the demand of writing these documents from a regulatory perspective. In addition to this, there is a lot of non-regulatory requirement also, like there's a huge number of scientific journals now, so articles and manuscripts that are being um, generated are lots. Marketing materials, posters, slides, website content is also immense, and these with specifically the internet growing and websites being the main source of information for a lot of things. These website content is also an important contributor to the amount of writing that is needed. So next slide, please, Lakshma. So this, now looking at the previous slide, we wanted to present what would be the growth outlook for the medical writing industry, and with India in specific. So India currently accounts for less than 10% of global medical writing outsourcing market, but we do have exponential growth opportunities. And we'll come to that, why India has exponential growth opportunities. As the stamp says, it's an evergreen career. So, now, if someone wants to be a medical writer, what would be the requirements that they have to keep in mind? So first is they need a master's degree in life science, pharmacy, or a bachelor's degree in medical science, uh, good communication skills in English. So the first 2 points, that is master's degree in life science, are needed because we deal with a lot of scientific content, and if students or if professionals entering into this field do not have that background, it's not possible to understand the content and analyze the content and write the documents. The second thing about good communication skills in English, both written and verbal, the reason is all documents are written in English. And yes, there are locations where it might be written in different languages like China or Japan, or informed consent forms, which are meant for patients, could be translated to various documents in different languages. But that's not the bulk of the work. Bulk of the documents are written in English across the globe. So this is very important. The last 2 points are also something that the student, a person wanting to get into this career should have inherent capabilities. One is adaptability and flexibility, and very good computer skills, proficiency in Microsoft Office. These two are needed because we work on computers, and regarding adaptability, we work on various documents, various clients for various locations. So we really have to be flexible and adaptable to pick these different documents up and different kind of work up every time. The other 3 points here, that is in orange, that is exposure and awareness of medical terminologies, knowledge of clinical research, and basic fundamentals of medical writing. These are also quite important, and students who think of getting into this career may not have this because it may not be a part of their curriculum. They may not be aware of the industry. They may not know what are the fundamentals of medical writing. And this is something that we aim to address during the MMS University, MMS Academy courses. Next slide, please, Sulakshana. Now, we looked at the requirements for medical writers, what skill requirements. Now, if someone wants to be a medical writer, they also need to understand where are the opportunities. So the opportunities are in pharma biotech, CROs like MMS Holdings, IQVIA, the others that Nandini mentioned at the beginning of this session. In communications, advertising, with healthcare providers, with medical schools and universities for medical education, and also the medical device industry. So you can see where the need is highest in the pharma, biotech, and the CRO sector, followed by all others. Next slide, please. So I'll hand it over to Nandini ma'am to speak about top employers and where can they look for jobs. So thanks everyone, and we'll look for questions.
Thank you, Sushmita.
Thank you.
So, like we already mentioned, these are some of the top employers that we have collated across the years. So, MMS is also one of them that hires a lot of medical writers. And in recent times, we have increased our hiring for medical writers too. Next slide, please. So when we look at a growth path with regards to the medical writing career, there are two paths actually that you can look at. One is a technical growth and other is technical and people management. So a technical growth would take you from being an intern or a research associate to a trainee writer all the way up to being a technical lead for any kind of a writing project. So it would take anywhere from 0 to almost around 7 to 8 years for you to reach the senior management or the senior technical lead path. So you just need to know what to understand, how to grow, and that is all that is needed for you to grow as a medical writer. So, of course, on the way of your career, you're taught how to read documents, how to write them, how to analyze data, etc. So, our courses also teach you the same thing. So, when it comes to people management, some people are more focused on wanting to be a technical person, other want to be people managers. So, there's options for both. So, when you start a people manager, you start leading a small team of 2 or 3 people, grow up to be leading 2 or 3 team leads, so on and so forth. And then you grow up to be a senior manager who handles a multiple managers or multiple leads under them. Next slide, please. Coming to the most important part of what we are talking about in a career, what is the kind of money that I can earn when I become a medical writer? So when you are a fresher, between 0 to 1 years, you can start anywhere from, let me say, around 22 to 25,000 a month to around 30,000 a month would be in the salary range. So when you reach a year or so, you might reach anywhere between 35 to 40. But I would like to give a clause here which says that all your earnings depends on your capacity to how you want to deliver what is expected out of you. So it's not a mandate that when I enter, I will definitely get this. No, it's all in a capacity on how you're able to understand, deliver, and give whatever that you have understood out of the trainings that is being given to you. Any intermediate professional between 2 to 5 years of age would, years of experience would earn anywhere between 50 to 1 lakh to 1.25 lakhs. Experience would definitely go much higher up than that, and you can reach up to 20 lakhs a year depending on what your experience is. Next slide, please. Okay. Any questions till now? Please post it in chat. We will definitely answer in the end. I see a couple of thoughts there. I will now hand over to Sulakshana, who will talk to you about MMS Academy, and all of us will come back again to answer your questions. Sulakshana.
Thank you, Nandini. And thank you, Anita, again for giving us this opportunity for, letting your students know about what medical writing is all about, and also a small introduction to the MMS Academy. Thank you very much, Anita.
Welcome.
Okay. So as Anita has already mentioned and made our, easier for us, I would again like to just go back and touch base on a few of the points which Anita had already mentioned about MMS Academy. So MMS Academy is the educational division of MMS, and we offer multiple courses like medical writing, regulatory disclosures, clinical programming, and many others like pharmacovigilance too. So our courses are created by subject matter experts with many years of experience, and they are all designed to empower students with critical in-demand skills, which is required by the life science industry. We assist students to enhance the employment opportunities also. How do we do that? Is by providing internship offerings, and we also give placement assistance to all enrolled students of MMS Academy. We provide both theory and hands-on experience, and the courses offered are designed for students to educate students on the complexity and the requirements for professional across all disciplines, such as medical writing, clinical programming, clinical trial disclosure, and other courses. So what does MMS Academy offer are these courses as of now. We are planning to add few more courses in our academy. Right now, we have medical coding, medical writing 1, we have medical writing 2, we have clinical programming, and we also have clinical trial disclosure. We are introducing data science and also pharmacovigilance into MMS Academy very soon. So what do we teach in medical writing course? As you all are aware what medical writing is all about, which Sushmita has explained very nicely. In this particular course, we have course number 1, we have the basics of medical writing, which is called the fundamentals of medical writing. And in course 2, we have medical writing of a new drug application, which is for NDA clinical modules. This is the course 2. I will just give you an overview about our medical course number 1, which is the fundamentals of medical writing. What does a student who enrolls into fundamentals of medical writing, what he or she will be able to learn? We enable the students to develop a strong foundation in a drug development process. Students will also gain hands-on experience with templates, ICH, and other industry standard guidelines. We also focus on data interpretation and regulatory writing in this particular course. And we also, the students will acquire skills to write 2 documents. The 2 documents are clinical study protocol and clinical study report. So this is an overview about what you will learn in medical writing course number 1, which is called the fundamentals of medical writing. This is the module what you will learn in the fundamentals of medical writing. Overview of drug development, introduction to trial designs, introduction to clinical study protocols, protocol sections and appendix, writing the protocol synopsis, having style in medical writing, publishing preparation for regulatory submissions, interacting with sponsor and client teams, what is QC, introduction to clinical study reports, the important social source material and formatting, general overview of CSRs. Then we also teach you about evaluating data in a CSR, then the CSR shell section 4 to 8, the drafting of and expectations and sponsor ready deliverables, investigational plan, the importance of statistics in clinical trials, disposition of efficacy overview, and how do I get into medical writing tips for success is what you will learn in the fundamentals of medical writing 1, which is called the MW course number 1. As I mentioned about course number 1, we offer medical writing course number 2. What do we cover? As I mentioned, we have the NDA clinical modules, which is covered in this particular course. Again, over here, we enable the students to develop a strong foundation in the requirements for writing clinical documents in a standard NDA submission. We also teach how NDA applicable guidelines and regulations are reviewed. We give you an insight into the tools of the trade and which are integrated into this course. You also acquire, students will acquire experience presenting complex aspects of clinical data, and you'll also have experience in 2 writing exercises, which is the summarization of individual study data and also the comparison analysis of integrated data. So this is module MW course number 2, which is little advanced than the fundamentals of medical writing, which is course number 1. Medical writing of NDA clinical modules. This is the modules which I'm talking about. In this particular module, you will learn about drug development, the role of the NDA, drug development strategy for the medical writer. We also teach the clinical data in an NDA, the introduction, the NDA guidelines and regulations, clinical summary pharmacology studies, modules 2.7 and 2.2, clinical efficacy documents, then clinical safety documents, clinical overviews, that is a module 2.5, then the clinical documents ancillary 2.75, 2.6, submissions of a specific MW lead, creating a submission specific consistency guide. And finally, the communications and negotiation timelines is what which will be covered in the medical writing 2 course, that is the NDA clinical trial modules. These are the instructors for our various courses, which I mentioned to you, which we are offering at MMS Academy. Dr. Teresa, who's the Regulatory and Medical Writing Associate Director. We have Shushmita Sahu, who's a Senior Manager, as she's also in this call, who's present. And I would also like to say that Shushmita has started her career as a Research Associate at MMS, and now she's a Senior Manager at MMS, and she has a lot of people reporting into her. Sendil Kumar, who's the Manager of Statistical Programming. He's the instructor for programming. And also Saichan is also an instructor for programming, who's a manager at MMS. And we have Monique, who's a senior medical writer. We have Kasim, who's the manager. Kavita Verma, who's a senior specialist, who's the clinical trial disclosure instructor. And we have Dr. Arunima Sen, who's the head of pharmacovigilance and medical writing. And she would be the instructor for the pharmacovigilance course. So these are the few of the instructors who will be who will be taking care of the MMS Academy courses. I've given you a brief about all of them. Dr. Teresa comes with over 10 years of experience in pharmaceutical writing experience, and she's a senior manager of medical and regulatory writing since 2009. Shushmita, I also mentioned that she has over 12 years of experience in scientific, medical, and regulatory writing for the clinical research in pharmaceutical industry. Monique has 13 years of experience in and she's worked in number of CROs as well as a pharma company. Sendil comes with is a manager, as I mentioned, and he's obtained his MBA from Satyabama University, who also has many years of experience in programming. Saichan comes with 10 years of experience in programming. Kasim again has 10 years of experience, and Kavita has around 14 years of experience in pharmaceuticals. So if you see the average number of experience of all our instructors, They're all called subject matter experts too, and they come with many years of experience, and they are the one who will be the instructors for all our MMS Academy courses, and who are very versatile in whatever subject they are going to teach. So what is a course efficiency? How do we assess students is one of the important questions a lot of students ask. How do you assess us? So we conduct knowledge checks by performing quizzes at the end of each session. We also evaluate students output. How do we do that? By giving them various assignments and exercises, which is also concluded with the final examination. You all have to, whoever takes up MMS Academy courses have to score a minimum 75% to pass the final examination and obtain a certificate. All our teachings are done on a educational learning platform called the Canvas, where your personal login credentials will be created, and you will have your login ID and password. And the best part about these courses are they're all online courses which MMS Academy provides. You can learn at your pace, at your free time, and you will be able to come up with a good certificate course if you get into any of these courses at MMS Academy. What are the advantages if you join MMS Academy courses? There are a couple of things which Anita has already mentioned to you earlier. Market recognition is the number one, where all students who successfully complete their course will obtain assessment-based certificates in compliance with ICE 1100 standards. The second advantage of MMS Academy courses are the global accreditation. We give you accreditation by the ACPE, Council of Pharmacy, that is Accreditation Council of Pharmacy Education from the US. And finally, the course delivery. Since it is completely online and web-based via Canvas, you students can complete the courses in the comfort of your homes as per your convenience. We also, MMS courses are module-based and user-friendly to enable smooth learning of the various courses which MMS Academy offers. What are the industry exposure? As I mentioned earlier, we give placement assistance and we also give internship opportunities. All students who successfully complete one or more courses at MMS will also be provided internship opportunities if you're at Bangalore or Hyderabad. And we have in fact started a new internship program where you all can take MMS Academy internships online. So you don't have to, because of this pandemic, our management has taken a call and we are able to give online internship to any student in whichever part of India they are to take online internship if they complete any of our courses. So that's a big advantage for students who would want to get into MMS Academy courses. Placement assistance, we will definitely help all students who have completed our courses. We give internship, as I mentioned, and you'll also be, how do we help you with placement is we will coordinate with the placement cells and we will help you all prepare CVs, how mock interviews are conducted, and we also identify if there is any job openings. And once you've completed your internship with us, if we have a vacancy in MMS, we will be able to absorb you. Of course, with all, we'll have a small test to see how you're performing. And that is an advantage which also will be given if you take up MMS Academy courses. That's with the end with MMS Academy. I hope I have been pretty clear with what we offer. And any questions, as Anita mentioned, you can please type in the chat box and definitely I will be able to answer you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all the presenters very much for this wonderful presentation on pursuing medical writing to augment career advancement. There are a few questions which I got. One of them were like, what are the opportunities once you complete this course abroad? That means outside India.
Nandini, would you like to take it?
Yes, I was about to unmute myself. Yeah.
So
Sure.
that is a good question, Ms. Anita. So my answer for that would be, if you get a little bit of an experience as a medical writer within India, I think it depends on your visa status wherever you go and your ability to write documents that will be tested by you, and any company would give you an opportunity to work as a medical writer. And like Sushmita already explained, there are multiple areas where you can enroll yourself as a writer or show your skills as a writer. So I don't see any dearth for opportunities outside the country.
Thank you so much. Now, another question comes to me in my mobile asking that does the applicant have to undergo any aptitude test before entering into the academy?
Um,
No.
Sulakshana, you want me to answer? I can take this.
Yes, please, Nandini, go ahead.
Yeah, there is no aptitude test to actually take the course, but you have a percentage limit that Sulakshana mentioned to actually pass out of the academy. So whoever is interested can just enroll like any other course that is available there.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, another one is that what is the duration of the course, and how long does it carry on, even if you do it from the comfort of your home, as you said, if it is an online mode?
So it's basically a 6 weeks course. So it's up to them, their comfort, how long they would like to take it. There are people who have finished it within 3 weeks also by devoting more time per day within the course. So they are given a lot of assignments, and I think it's the assignments which takes them time to actually complete the course. So, like I said, the actual duration is 6 weeks. But if that's going to get extended, they can coordinate with the coordinators like Sulakshana and seek an extension, see how long they would like to extend it.
Okay, ma'am. Another question asked here is, yeah, what is the course fees for this medical writing?
Sulakshana will take that.
Okay, so Anita, the course fee for this medical writing would be, if at all we sign an MOU with your college, that is the Anand University, and we come to an agreement, then the course fee would be much lesser as compared to a regular student from any other college. So we charge around 40,000 plus tax, the GST, that is 18%. So if we have a MOU signed and we have a collaboration with the Anand University, we will definitely be able to give a better price, depending on number of students who take up our courses.
Another question is,
Yeah.
thank you, ma'am. Another question is, ma'am, how to enroll into the course?
Okay, so I have a requisition form,
Like
which
after final year,
okay.
I guess.
Yeah, what they can do is once they complete their final year project and they get their results, we have a requisition form which I will be sending it to you. And they have my contact number and my email ID. Whoever is interested in taking up the course can reach out to me directly, or they can reach out to you, and they need to fill up the requisition form, which has all the details. Once they fill that up and pay up the fees, we will be able to provide the login credentials and they can immediately start the course. Anita, are you there? Oh, it's 3 o'clock. Does it get cut? Nandini, Shushmita, are you there?
I
Yeah,
think I see
Sulakshana, I can
Anita.
hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, looks like,
All the participants seem to be there too.
okay. Anybody who can hear us, can you chat up? Okay, Anita is back. Okay.
Yeah. There was some connection error.
Okay.
Okay.
So I
Right.
hope I answered your question, Anita.
Yes, of course. One more question has come up to me in the mobile that they're asking what are the various promotional stages once you start your career as a medical writer? Like,
Okay,
where do you go up?
Nandini, you can take that, please.
Can you please repeat the question?
What are the various promotional opportunities once you start your career as a medical writer? What are the various promotional opportunities? Like, how do you land up, or where do you go up later on?
So I think we already showed a slide, but since we rushed through, you have different phases that you develop from being a research associate. We call it intern a research associate to being a trainee medical writer. Then you move up to be a medical writer 1, 2, senior medical writer 1, 2. Then you grow up to be a principal if you are a technical side of a person. Otherwise, you grow up into leadership opportunities. So these are the different phases, and each position depends differently on different companies. So there is no particular, but generally this is the path that you grow. And the
Okay,
slide
fine,
is on
ma'am.
the
Thank you so
screen.
much. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Any other questions to the participants? Any other questions? Meanwhile, the forms can be filled by everybody. This form will give you a certificate. The certificate will be sent to your inbox by tomorrow, and you get another certificate from MMS Academy itself, as I have been informed. So that will be also done. Meanwhile, if there is no questions, let me wind up the session. First of all, thank you very much, dear presenters, for your wonderful presentation on the pursuing medical writing to augment career advancement. It was a very an enhanced session because we were not knowing anything regarding medical writing. We had only heard about a technical term called as medical writing, and it has opened many various opportunities. And I guess most of the students will be now looking forward for such new courses which comes across. And if there are any questions, again, yeah, one question I see again: are there any job opportunities for someone who has already pursued medical writing courses but not graduated? Because I'm in fourth year of PharmD. Someone
Okay.
has asked like that.
Can I get a little bit of clarification on what do you mean by not yet graduated, from the university or from the
Because it is
course?
a 6 years course. PharmD is a 6 year course, ma'am, and the student is right now in fourth year. So they are asking any opportunities are still there. Like fifth and sixth year, basically they go for their clinical rounds. They are into hospitals, so they are telling, is there any opportunity at that time?
Are they looking
So,
at a project, Anita? Sorry, Nandini.
no
Are
problem.
they looking at taking up a project, internship kind of a thing? Is that what they're asking?
Yes, yes, yes.
An internship program, you mean?
So what I would say, Ms. Anita, for that student is either they approach any company for an internship, or what they do is they can use that time, whatever they have learned, in doing some writing for some company, or actually posting some papers or writing some papers. So that will utilize 2 years of their time. That will add as value
Okay,
for
fine,
them when they
fine.
have, when by the time they
Right, got it,
graduate,
got it.
and they already have it ready with them that they have published
Okay.
some papers. So that would be some suggestion I would give.
Fine. Ma'am, I just wanted to ask one more out of curiosity. See, this courses basically are meant for these undergraduate students, right? What if someone is specialized in a PG and someone wants to join? Are there any opportunities directly for any higher positions like that? Or they also
Ma'am, there is
undergo
no a
training?
limit for what graduation they have to be to join the course. So this is a
Okay.
certification program adding to their educational credentials. So it doesn't matter which degree that they have passed out with, as long as they're capable of comprehending whatever we are teaching and able to deliver. Anybody
Fine.
who has a background in biotech would be able to do this job.
Okay, fine. Because a question is asked that a master's is necessary or what. So I guess a graduation level to grow up through a higher level is also enough here, right?
That is one case, but most of the companies prefer to hire a person with master's degree because they assume that the knowledge in biotech industry per se would be a little higher when they do their master's degree course
Okay,
versus
fine.
if they've done their bachelor's degree.
Okay. What about pharmacy, ma'am? We also study all these things into our throughout the 4 years. That is four
So
years
I
also,
think a
and
B
the
Farm
specialization
graduate,
also comes like that.
I think a B pharmacy graduate also should be able to take up the course. That shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, fine, fine. Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
Anita ma'am, Sushmita here. Just to
Yes,
Okay,
Rashmita.
ma'am.
clarify, it's no, we consider the master's degree for the biotech programs are like 3 + 2 years, whereas pharmacy programs are 4 years. So a bachelor's degree in pharmacy or a master's degree in biotech or other life sciences are fine. And we had that in the skills slide. If we go back few things, so
Fine,
even
fine.
like bachelor's degree in dentistry, pharmacy, or even other
Okay,
medical
the
allied
any
fields
life
are
science
fine.
graduates basically medical background.
Yeah, so bachelor degree for medical related things, and no master's degree for anything like biotech, micro, or biochemistry kind of thing. So pharmacy and dentistry and all bachelor's degrees considered equivalent to the five
Fine,
years master's degree also. So
fine, fine.
yeah.
Okay.
It's basically decided based on how much they will understand the technical aspects. Otherwise, there's nothing like a limit. So the more the technical vocational education they have, the better it is for them to understand the concepts. That's all.
Okay, fine. Fine, ma'am. Yeah, any more questions?
So Anita, just to add to Shushmita and Nandini, I can even forward you all the brochures for of MMS
Yeah,
Academy
sure.
and
The students can contact me for
yes,
all the details, whatever they want, and you can
yes,
do that. No
So
issues.
definitely.
there was one question that somebody's posted here. Is there
Yeah.
any specific skill that decides the longevity of an individual in medical writing field? I would say the sustaining interest of the person in the field is what is the specific skill needed for them to sustain in a medical writing field. If they lose interest in that, that's true with any field, not just medical writing field. So your interest in this topic and how long you would like to
Yes.
be there, that's the main skill that you need.
Yes, exactly.
If Sushma,
Yeah, some demands for brochures are also coming. So I guess, ma'am, Nandini ma'am, you can leave it with me, or Sushmita ma'am can forward it to me.
yeah, selection, I will coordinate with you on
I'll
that.
coordinate with
So
you,
I can
Anita.
share it with the students also.
Sure, Anita. I will coordinate with you. Not a problem.
Yeah. So once again, thank you very much, all the three speakers of the day. And it was a very enhancing presentation and guided on many new aspects which we were also not knowing. So we look forward for you with more association and of course with more presentations like this. And I'd like to thank one and all who coordinated and obliged and accepted our invitation in your busy schedule. I thank respected Dean, Sir, Management, staff of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Dayanand Sagar University, for allowing me to conduct such an informative webinar. We also look forward for many such informative webinars and interactions with you in future also. I thank the promotion team, Ms. Deepa RM, Mr. Shakat Ali, Mr. Hemant Kumar, Mr. Mohammed Imtiaz for their continuous support till the end. I also thank all the participants who spared their valuable time, especially from the examination schedule, to attend this session and make this session wonderful. Thank you all once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anita, for this opportunity. And as you mentioned, we are also looking forward for a good collaboration with Dayanand University. And I will keep in
Thank you.
touch with you
Thank you
and I
very
will coordinate with the brochures. Yeah. Thank you, participants,
much. Thank you.
and wishing you all the very best for your exams.
Thank you, all of you. Have a
Thank you.
nice day.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Bye bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you
great
very
day
much.
ahead. Bye.